Hey guys, just a quick note. Ronnie and I had to record this podcast remotely, so the audio quality may not be up to our usual standards. We appreciate your guys' patience while we iron out all the kinks. Thanks and hope you enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Everything Vive. I am Zane here with Ronnie. Ronnie, how's it going, man? How was the week?
Pretty good. It's been a good week. How about you?
Not too bad. I'm excited, man. We got another episode of Game Talk today. A lot of cool things that I've come across over the last week. How about you?
Yeah, no, same. A lot of cool things to talk about. So most of the ones that I wanted to talk about today have been out for a little while, but we haven't gotten to cover them on a Game Talk yet. And I'm really excited to share them with everybody.
All right, well, let's dive in. I'm taking a look at the list here. I think you're going to lead us off with Portal Stories VR.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point to add this to the list because it's an homage to Valve, which, you know, we all love their work, and everybody's super anxious to find out what Valve is actually working on as far as their own development games are going. But Portal Stories VR is basically a fan project that was made using Portal 2 assets. So for all of the Vive users out there that have played Portal 2 and own a copy of Portal 2 already in Steam, this is a free download. You can just go and search the store for Portal Stories VR. You'll download this and you'll get to experience, I'm not sure exactly how many puzzles, but you know, it's a solid couple of hours, I'd say, between an hour to 2 hours of gameplay, and it's really well done. It's what you'd kind of expect a virtual reality version of Portal to be. So if, for those out there that aren't familiar with the Portal games, basically you're solving a bunch of puzzles using multiple portals to go through each level. And like I said, I don't know how much detail I should get into. I mean, if you own Portal 2, that's the way you're going to get this game. And if you own it, you don't need me explaining it to you. This should be enough for you to just go out and download it. So I can't recommend it enough. It's very, very well done for especially a fan-made project. And it gives you a little taste of what hopefully will be a Valve-produced Portal game in the near future.
So has there been any talk of that?
There hasn't been direct talk, but there is, the demo in the lab that's Portal themed. So it's the robot repair demo is basically all Portal assets, and at the end it kind of hints that near the end that there's going to be a virtual reality version. Whether or not that's actually what Valve's working on, we don't really know yet. There haven't been any announcements. We know that Valve is working internally on its own VR projects besides just the hardware stuff. So, but I think we're still several months to a year away from knowing what those are. But in the meantime, like I said, if you want to quench that thirst for more Portal, especially in the VR space, I think Portal Stories does a really good job.
Cool. Now, I'm still new to this, and I've actually never played Portal before. Don't kill me. But so you mentioned that we'd have to, or if I had Portal 2 already, then it would be a free download. What if I don't have Portal 2, and would I have to get Portal 2 in order to enjoy Portal Stories VR?
My understanding is you would have to purchase Portal 2, but at this point, Portal 2 has been out a long time, and it's very, very reasonably priced. I'd have to look to see what it actually costs right now, but I'm sure you could get it for a steal. I wouldn't imagine it's any more than $10. It's probably even cheaper than that. And like I said, Portal 2 in and of itself, if you have a mouse and keyboard or a gamepad to just play that before you dive into the virtual reality part, that game is awesome. It's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. I honestly think anybody would enjoy it. And then you can download the free Portal Stories virtual reality experience as well.
Sweet. Well, I will. I'll look into that one then. I had a game here, and so it's again, we're getting into that fine line of games versus experiences versus whatever VR ends up being. But have you heard of Gnomes and Goblins?
It sounds a little familiar, but I know I haven't gotten to try it myself. What are your impressions of it?
So, well, just a little background first. But Gnomes and Goblins, it's a collaboration between WEVR or WEVR, the Blue makers.
Yeah,
The
they're
developers
amazing.
behind the Blue. So it's them working with Jon Favreau, who's an actor and director. He directed the first two Iron Mans and a couple other movies.
Okay.
So I mean, if you see his picture, you'll definitely know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly. Yeah, so I know who Jon Favreau is, and I also love Weaver or WeVR or however you want to. That combination already just sounds amazing. So now I know I'm going to have to go and download this as soon as I get off the podcast.
Yeah, no, you really should. I mean, so this is just like a preview because I think what Jon Favreau was trying to do, because he's obviously the creator behind this and just the mastermind behind it, but he's really looking to see how VR can be used as another storytelling medium, but this time in a much more interactive way. And so I was actually just reading, I tried the game a couple days ago, but I was reading another article this morning about it. And because I'm really excited, they just came out with a preview, and I guess they're seeing how the preview is received before they proceed on to making a full title. But I think they're going to end up doing it just because it's a really cool experience. It doesn't last that long, but again, it's a free experience, and it's one of those.
How long is not very long? Just curious.
I want to say 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
10 to 15 minutes. Again, so the thing is, like, it's a very interactive experience, and what they've done is well, I guess this is similar across all VR games or experiences, but there's this weird type of emotional connection that you can make with the characters in the game just because of how they respond to you. And that was actually one of the big focuses of the article, that, if you didn't feel like you were being drawn into the game because the characters could see you, their eyes would watch you when you moved and how you moved and reacted to how quickly you moved, things like that. It's just a really interesting concept, and I'm really excited for where this could go because, with someone like Jon Favreau and just bringing somebody who's like a top-notch movie director into the mix. I mean, this guy knows how to storytell and could really add a whole nother element to what virtual reality is right now in its baby stage.
Well, I haven't gotten to play it yet, so I mean, you would know best as far as spoilers are concerned or anything like that. But I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about what's in that 10 or 15 minutes, because that sounds really intriguing to me. I mean, when you first put on the headset and you start up the application, what happens exactly? Like,
well, so I don't want to get into spoilers, but I will say this about the gameplay. It's not gameplay. It's more so just a really mini story that's moved along with, based on the actions that you take when you interact with some of the characters. Okay. And so that's the best way that I can describe it. Again, short demo, maybe takes like 10 to 15 minutes. You get to explore around a little bit and interact with some of the main characters there.
And it's room scale, like Vive supported.
It's Vive supported. It was designed for the Vive. So it's room scale. You get the full 360 experience and can walk around. I mean, I don't want to make it sound more than it actually is. Again, it's just a preview, but like I said, the potential for what something like this represents, I think, is really exciting.
Yeah, no, and like you were mentioning, I mean, the fact that it's free is, like I said, Portal Stories is free if you own, Portal 2 already. Now Gnomes and Goblins is another, 10 to 15 minute, free little bite. I like these episodes where we get to talk about things that people can easily just go and pick up. So, yeah,
absolutely. Well, on that note, why don't we switch gears and go to something that I guess is no longer free, or was it ever free?
It wasn't free. I mean, I could be wrong. I want to say it was discounted previously, but I love Audio Shield, and that's the next game on our list. I think Audio Shield is super cool. So if you're into music and you want something to show friends, especially when they come over to try the Vive out for the first time. It's not really, I mean, it's a standing experience, so it's not really room scale, but it's very immersive and it's a ton of fun. It's from the guys that made. Oh, come on. I'm trying to think of what the original games were that the developer of Audio Shield made, because it was actually ironically
Not Dance Dance Revolution, was it?
No.
Because that's kind of what it reminds me of.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Audio Surf.
Okay.
So Audio Surf was actually, I want to say, it was the second game that I ever purchased on Steam. So it was literally when Steam first came out. Mm-hmm. It was part of Half-Life 2 that was made by Valve, and Audio Surf, ironically, the first one was the second game after Half-Life 2 that I ever purchased on the Steam store. So anyways, so the developers that made one of the earliest Steam store games are now developed a game for the Vive, and it's compatible with SoundCloud, but you can also import your own MP3 files. Mm-hmm. Any MP3 file you have, you can open it with Audio Shield and load up the track, and then Audio Shield will procedurally generate tracks that you can then interact with in VR. And essentially, once the song loads up, you're standing there with two shields in your hands. In one hand you have a blue shield, the other hand you have a red shield, and these glowing orbs come at you to the beat of the music, and you have to hit the colors that correspond with each shield. So you can either just block it, or preferably, if you have good timing, you can punch each of the orbs, just like any rhythm game that you might have played, like Dance Dance Revolution or something like that. Yeah. And when you hit the orbs, they splash around you in vibrant, bright colors. And I actually had a couple of people that had never played VR try this as one of their first demos, and they were actually like, surprisingly now, especially since we've all experienced a lot of different virtual reality games, but they were actually scared that these orbs were flying at them because they looked 3D, and literally they thought that was a little bit intense, which is, like I said, it's hilarious now, but it just goes to show you how new all this stuff is. So anyways,
absolutely.
It's cool. I mean, for me, I think one of the coolest things about Audio Shield is just the fact that you can import your own music. So for a lot of people, just having that, familiar, loved, their own music brought into the game, it kind of makes it that much more enjoyable for them. So it's something new, but something that they already know, and mixing them together, it can also be a good workout. Because depending on what song you pick, but yeah, so all that stuff put together, I think it, while it is a little bit pricey, I want to say it's like around the $15 range or so.
I think I saw it for about 20 as of this recording.
Okay, so around 20 then. So that is a little pricey, but if you really have especially if you have a big MP3 music collection on your computer that you're running the Vive off of, that you could easily import songs from, I think it's a really good one.
I mean, I really like that aspect. So I personally haven't played it, but I've seen many other people play it, and was obviously in the room when you were showing it to us. And so it's a cool game. I really like the idea of that beat mapping and how you can throw any track in there and it'll be able to, create an experience for you based on that song. I think that definitely adds to the replay value of a game like this.
Yep. No, like I said, I recommend it. And it was one of the launch titles that came out with the Vive, not with the bundle, but it was out in the Steam store when the Vive was launched. And I still think it's a really good one for people that are just getting into this. So
cool. All right, well, let's jump back to the free games. I got another one here for you. It's Quanero, and I think, oddly enough, you're the one who told me about this, or at least I think you heard about it and then just kind of said, I remember you sent me a text one morning. You're like, hey, check out Quanero when you get the chance.
I heard good things about it, and I knew it was free, so I was like, there's no excuse. We should definitely, try this out. And I haven't gotten around to it, but I know you have. So
I did. It's really cool, man. I don't even know how to really describe what it is. Well, no, let me give it a shot since that's what we're trying to do here. But it's essentially you can go online and read what the premise is, but there's an explosion, there's an incident, and what you're doing is going back and recreating from the memories of other people. You get to be in this scene where you can't interact with the environment, but you can play things. You can mess with time essentially. So you can play it forward, you can play it in reverse, and you go. It's like two rooms. I don't know the square footage, but there's a lot happening in these two rooms, and
Dude, as you're getting deeper into this explanation, I'm now realizing why your initial thought was I have no idea how to describe, because this sounds so intense. Like,
yeah, so it's a different take on, like, well, again, storytelling, which is what a popular buzzword that I saw associated with the game. And so it's this idea that there's a scene that happens, and what's amazing is that you can watch the scene from literally every single angle, and you can go back and forth in terms of time, and go hear what people were saying, see how one thing leads to another, literally be standing over people's shoulders or listening in on their conversations, because like I said, there's so much happening in this scene, and the goal is for you to go in and try and figure out exactly what causes this massive incident that occurs at the end of the towards the end of the scene. And so like I said, I mean, the best way to describe it is just that, as long-winded as it is. It's a really cool take on storytelling. It's a really cool take on being able to go around these rooms in room scale, or sorry, I mean in like life scale. So it's like you're walking in a memory of people. And I think, you know what? Somebody explained it really well. I was in a conversation. So for Harry Potter fans out there,
okay,
I'm not a Harry Potter buff, but I know that there is a part where they could go back into the memories and literally walk around the memories and see them like from a third person view, from the first person view, as if they're just standing in the same room as when those things happen. Remember?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
So that's exactly what this game is. So because I remember explaining it to someone else, and then they're like, "Whoa, they could create a whole Harry Potter game based off of that, where you go back through these memories of recreated Harry Potter scenes." And then, guy obviously loved Harry Potter, so it was it was exciting. But again, like I said, just the format for the way the game is set up, I thought would be really it is very unique, and it would match something like a Harry Potter style thing, or just the game itself is really cool to check out.
And what kind of interactions are there? Like I know you can walk around and kind of see how time had progressed and everything. But then where does I'm just curious, how does the interaction play a part?
So that's the thing. You're not allowed to interact with the environment at all. So you can't touch anything. You can't move anything. It's more so just going around the room and seeing how the scene or the situation unfolds exactly. And so you're literally just playing like a time cop or a time detective, where you can go in and instead of looking at a series of different camera angles, you can go in and look at a scene play out from multiple different angles and find out exactly what happened and what led to what. And so
that's cool.
Yeah,
it sounds unique.
It's very unique. I mean, out of all the titles I've played so far, which is a good amount, but obviously not everything, it stands alone in terms of what it is and how it goes about doing what it does.
Very interesting.
So that one is Quanero. So that comprises all the games that we have. I did want to share one more. Again, not a game, but more so just a bonus. And Ronnie, you and I were talking about it a little bit before. The Body VR.
Yeah, and I had seen kind of advertisements or images of the game or experience rather in Steam, but I haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet. I know you said you got a chance to pull it up, and it sounded like you had some good impressions of it.
I did. Well, this is just another free download, and so you can grab it right now. I would suggest grabbing it right now, because I feel like I've seen a pattern of stuff that comes out free ends up being charged for later. So honestly, any free title that I see right now, I'm just grabbing because, one, I want to check it out, and two, you never know later on down the road. But it's more so an educational experience, and I'm just looking at their website here, and it literally says the Body VR, the future of education is here, and you're essentially put into a little mini, not spaceship, but just like a little mini ship, and you traverse through the human body. You're the size of a cell or a molecule, and you get to see how the human body works, specifically going through blood vessels and things like that. But the scale of it is obviously what's impressive, but it's very educational. It's very straightforward. Yeah, you can play around with certain things. There's the interaction where they kind of have like little explanations, and they'll have like a little DNA helix pop up in front of you, and you can kind of like bat that around or like hold it and toss it between hands. But while you're doing that, they're explaining to you exactly what DNA is, how it works, and you're going through. You get to see a virus attacking a cell and how that looks, but you're the size of like a tiny ant compared to this, so it just looks like gigantic asteroids.
So basically, what you're saying is this is the grown-up virtual reality version of the Magic School Bus.
Wow, that is a great way to put it. Absolutely, yeah. Without the magic or the school bus, it's just straight up learning. But I mean, you know what? Again, like imagine like a what's that called? A Magic School Bus type of theme or element to this, where you could go through the human body, or you could go through X, Y, or Z, the size of like something tiny like a cell, which is exactly, didn't they have an episode like that or of that?
Yeah, if I was a kid and instead of watching some cartoon or looking at, some pictures in a book, I was able to actually go inside the human body and learn about this stuff. I think that's pretty amazing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's a very unique experience. Again, I love how all these different developers are just coming out with cool new ways to experience VR. It's a wild west, and it's fantastic right now for experiencers or people like us who just get to experience all of it.
Honestly, I'm pretty excited. On this Game Talk, a couple of the games I talked about, you talked about 2 or 3 yourself. And the 2 or 3 you talked about, I haven't gotten a chance to try yet. So I feel like I can just, leave this podcast and have quite a bit of fun on my Vive tonight.
You'll have fun with Quanero. You should really try that one.
Yeah,
whenever you get the chance. Gnomes and Goblins too. Yeah,
sounds cool, and the body VR. And all of this stuff is free. I think this is a cool episode for people that are looking for things to do on their Vive. And you haven't done any of these things, especially the free ones, you have no excuse. You need to get on Steam. You need to start downloading things. Take advantage of your hardware.
Yeah, 100%. The thing is, and Ronnie, you and I were talking about how you buy games $5, $10. It starts to add up, and especially when these games only last you a couple of hours of gameplay at most. It's nice that there are a lot of different free experiences that you can download and kind of dive into just because of.
And talk about different. We have. Different forms of storytelling. One that's more, Hollywood directorial. The other one's more, time warping craziness. And then you have this, this educational body experience. They're all over the place, which is the coolest thing. There's not many systems or hardware hardware platforms out there that can boast so many different unique types of experiences as the Vive. So.
Well, there are, but you don't get them in room scale. That's the thing.
Hey, fair enough.
So before we wrap this one up, anything you're looking forward to this week in terms of games or titles you want to check out, or did you just mention all the ones that I mentioned?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to have to check out these more in depth. I actually recently purchased Redout, which is a kind of F-Zero type racing game.
Cool.
That is also compatible. It's not room scale, but it supports both the Vive and the Oculus Rift. So I'm excited to kind of get my hands on that some more. And then, a couple of non-VR titles out there that I might, if I have time, get a chance to play. Gears of War 4 came out on PC, and also
nice.
Forza Horizon 3, so I might check those out. But
those are not allowed. This is the Everything Vibe podcast.
Hey, yeah, no, there's a lot of great games in general out right now.
Fair enough.
I'm excited to play all of these things that we just mentioned. So I'm glad you brought up these, especially the free stuff. Like I said, you can never get enough of these experiences, and I can't. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Anytime you see something that's free on Steam, you should just jump and download it, because they're really usually not that big of downloads. You can download them pretty quick, and then you have them there. So anytime you do get some spare time to whip out the headset, you can just go and have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see. I think I just downloaded. It says there's the VR Museum of Fine Art. I don't know if you saw that by any chance.
No.
It looks like it's just a museum. Again, another cool experience. I haven't tried it, but just another different take of like walking through a virtual museum, seeing famous art pieces like the Statue of David or the Mona Lisa, but you get to see it in the context of scale of being inside an actual museum. You can
finally kind of go up and touch them.
That's one of the things that I think they put in the game notes or something like, now you can do it without all the restrictions, and they're all in one place. So yeah, cool. Yeah, I just downloaded it yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. So probably look at that and let you guys know how it is. But again, that's another free download. Like I said, I went through Steam and I just click on everything that was free because I just wanted to see what was out there.
Very cool.
So yeah, we'll wrap this one up here. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And yeah, we'll have some news for you out on Monday. So take care, have a good one, and we'll talk soon.